In this podcast, Ben Shapiro discusses the resignation of the former president of Harvard University, Claudine Gay, and the implications of her departure. He delves into the controversy surrounding her tenure, including allegations of plagiarism and her handling of calls for genocide against Jews on campus. Shapiro also explores the broader issue of diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, in academia, and its impact on institutions like Harvard. Shapiro begins by highlighting the significance of Claudine Gay's resignation as the shortest tenured president in Harvard's history. He emphasizes the controversy surrounding her academic record, including allegations of plagiarism and her response to calls for genocide against Jews on campus. Shapiro presents a transcript of Gay's exchange with a questioner, where she struggles to address the issue of anti-Semitic rhetoric and its violation of Harvard's rules on bullying and harassment. Shapiro delves into the broader implications of Gay's resignation, particularly in the context of diversity, equity, and inclusion in academia. He criticizes the DEI philosophy, which he argues prioritizes diversity quotas over merit-based qualifications. Shapiro points out that Gay's appointment may have been influenced by her race and gender, rather than her academic qualifications, reflecting the DEI agenda prevalent in academic institutions. Shapiro discusses the response to Gay's resignation, highlighting the support she received from certain individuals and groups. He criticizes the narrative that portrays Gay as a victim of racism and discrimination, arguing that her resignation was a result of her academic misconduct and failure to address anti-Semitic rhetoric on campus. Shapiro also addresses the role of race grifters and DEI proponents in defending Gay and perpetuating the DEI ideology. Shapiro expands the discussion to the broader influence of DEI in American society beyond academia. He argues that the DEI philosophy has permeated various sectors, including media, politics, and entertainment, shaping policies and decision-making. Shapiro emphasizes the detrimental impact of DEI on institutions and the need to challenge its ideology. Shapiro shifts the focus to the Biden administration's approach to equity, particularly in the context of immigration and border security. He criticizes the administration's open border policy and its failure to address the border crisis effectively. Shapiro highlights the political implications of the administration's stance on immigration and its impact on public opinion. He points out that the administration has dramatically reduced removals and detention of immigrants, leading to a surge in non-citizens enrolled in alternatives to deportation programs. Shapiro argues that the administration's policies have effectively opened the border, allowing individuals to enter the country and disappear into the interior without consequences. He also discusses the administration's request to the Supreme Court to reinstate federal authority over the international boundary between Mexico and Texas, following a lower court order blocking the removal of concertina wire installed by Texas officials to deter migrants from crossing the Rio Grande. Shapiro criticizes the administration's efforts to prevent Texas from enforcing immigration laws and suggests that the equity orientation of the administration is leading to harmful policies. Shapiro addresses the influence of equity ideology in the entertainment industry, particularly in the context of the Star Wars franchise. He criticizes the decision to appoint a documentary filmmaker with no experience in high-octane adventure fantasy sci-fi entertainment to direct the next Star Wars movie. He argues that the decision is driven by a focus on equity rather than the quality of the content, and questions the qualifications of the individual chosen to lead the project. He also discusses the impact of equity ideology on the portrayal of characters and storylines in entertainment, citing examples of how it has influenced the direction of popular franchises. Shapiro highlights the disconnect between the focus on equity and the quality of the content being produced, suggesting that the prioritization of equity is leading to the destruction of valuable intellectual property. Shapiro provides an update on the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, specifically the recent strike by Israel that killed a senior Hamas leader in Beirut. He discusses the implications of the strike and the potential for increased tensions between Israel and Hamas. He also criticizes the response of Western leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron, who called on Israel to avoid escalation, particularly in Lebanon. Shapiro highlights the threat posed by Hamas and Hezbollah to Israel, emphasizing the need for international support for Israel's efforts to defend itself against terrorist organizations. He also addresses the criticism of Israel's actions by figures such as Bernie Sanders, who called for an end to U.S. funding for Israel, and emphasizes the importance of understanding the context and complexity of the situation in the Middle East. Shapiro discusses the significant increase in the national debt, which has now surpassed $32 trillion. He highlights the long-term implications of the growing debt and the challenges it poses for future generations. Shapiro emphasizes the need for responsible fiscal policies to address the national debt and prevent further economic instability. He also mentions the corruption charge against Senator Bob Menendez, who was hit with another corruption charge. Shapiro provides an overview of the allegations and emphasizes the importance of accountability and ethical conduct in government.